A form says quantity 1, but what does the browser actually send? Burp Suite lets an authorized tester pause that request, inspect it, make one controlled change, and compare the server's response. Think of Burp Proxy as a transparent inspection desk between your browser and a web application. The browser hands over an HTTP message. You can read the label, record the evidence, and either forward it unchanged or test a carefully chosen variation. In this original CipherVibe walkthrough, every request stays inside a fictional local lab at localhost. We will define scope, open Burp's pre-configured browser, capture one harmless request, use HTTP history, send it to repeater, change a display preference, compare responses, and document the finding. We will not scan public systems, brute force accounts, use exploit payloads, or bypass authentication. Use Burp only on applications you own or have explicit written authorization to test. Burp Suite is a collection of web security testing tools. Community Edition includes core manual tools, while Professional adds capabilities such as Burp Scanner. Features and interface labels can change, so verify your edition and current portswigger documentation. Proxy sits between the test browser and the application. Intercept can hold a request before the server receives it. HTTP history records traffic that pass through the proxy even when interception is off. Target and Scope organize the authorized application. Repeater lets you manually resend one request while changing selected values. An HTTP request commonly contains a method, path, headers, cookies, and sometimes a body. The response contains a status code, headers, and a body. Burp displays these messages. It does not automatically tell you whether behavior is vulnerable. The testing question should be specific. For example, does the server accept an unsupported display theme, and does it safely fall back to a default? That is a low-risk behavior check inside our lab. Our fictional application is North Star Shop, listening only on 12.7.0.0.1, port 8080. It has a product page and a harmless preference endpoint. All users, products, cookies, and responses are synthetic. Keep the lab isolated. Bind the service to loopback rather than every network interface. Do not reuse production passwords, API keys, customer records, or browser profiles. Use a disposable browser session and a resettable application database. If containers or virtual machines are used, confirm their port mappings and network exposure before testing. The demo request changes only a visual theme between light and dark. It does not access another user, alter a price, upload a file, execute code, or test authentication. Before opening Burp, write the authorization boundary, scheme HTTP, host 127.0.0.1, port 8080, and the North Star path. Everything else is out of scope. Open target and then scope. Add the exact local prefix for the exercise. Scope can filter the sitemap and proxy history. It also helps prevent accidental contact with unauthorized hosts. Use a literal local host address and port. Avoid broad wildcards or unrelated domains. Configure history and interception filters to show only in-scope traffic. The simulated screen highlights one rule. It uses HTTP, the loopback address, port 8080, and the North Star path. A green boundary surrounds it. Everything else remains gray. Scope reduces noise, but it is not legal authorization. A tool setting cannot expand a written agreement. Confirm ownership, timing, allowed techniques, data handling, and emergency contacts before a real engagement. Go to Proxy Intercept and choose Open Browser. Burp's embedded browser is pre-configured to proxy through Burp, which avoids changing the settings of your everyday browser. Set Intercept on. In the lab browser, open the North Star preference page and choose Dark Theme. The page appears to pause because Burp is holding the request. The simulated request reads post/northstar/preference. The host is the local address and port. The content type is application/x-www-form-URL encoded. The body contains theme equals dark. Inspect the method, path, host, content type, cookie name, and body. The cookie value is fake and partially masked. Click forward so the request reaches the local server. Then turn intercept off. Browsers create many background requests, so leaving interception on can make the browser appear stuck and can create unnecessary noise. Open Proxy, HTTP history. Filter to in-scope items. You should see the page request, static assets, and the preference post. Select the post. The request pane shows what the browser sent. The response pane shows a 200 status, a synthetic JSON body, and a preference cookie. A 200 response means the server processed the request at the HTTP level. It does not prove the behavior is secure or correct. Record the time, method, path, status, request length, response length, and the action that generated it. Avoid copying real session tokens into tickets or screenshots. Redact secrets while preserving enough context for reproduction. History is often a better beginner workspace than permanent interception. Browse normally, identify one meaningful request, then analyze it after the fact. This keeps the exercise focused and reduces accidental modifications. Right-click the preference request and send it to repeater. First click Send without changing anything. This is the baseline. The local server returns 200 and confirms dark. Duplicate the tab or preserve the baseline response. Change only the body value from dark to contrast and send again. Do not change the cookie, host, path, or headers. One variable at a time makes the result interpretable. The synthetic server returns 400 with an error stating that the allowed values are light and dark. That is expected validation. The practical finding is the server rejects an unsupported preference value and leaves the previous theme unchanged. Repeater is powerful because it separates a browser action from a controlled HTTP experiment. Use it for manual verification on authorized endpoints. It is not a license to guess identifiers, tamper with other users' data, or send destructive requests. Use proxy and history to understand a workflow. Use repeater for a small number of manual variations. Automated scanning creates more traffic and may change application state. Use it only with approved scope, rate limits, exclusions, monitoring, and recovery plans. Community and professional editions differ. Scanner is a professional feature. Check current port swigger documentation for features and licensing. Developer tools inspect browser-side requests. Application logs show server-side processing. API clients test documented APIs. Burp helps you observe, organize, and carefully replay browser-to-server messages. Choose the tool that answers the authorized question with the least risk and the clearest evidence. Common mistakes include testing a public site without permission, using a real browser profile, importing production cookies, leaving a proxy configured after the lab, trusting every 200 response, changing several values at once, and running automation before understanding the workflow. Burp project files and HTTP history can contain credentials, tokens, personal data, and proprietary content. Encrypt storage, restrict access, define retention, and clean up the disposable lab after the exercise. If a request could delete data, trigger messages, create purchases, or affect another user, stop and obtain explicit approval and a safe test plan. Remember the inspection desk analogy. Burp lets you examine the package between browser and server. Good testing does not open every package in the city. It inspects one authorized shipment, records the baseline, changes one harmless label, and explains the result. Your practical action is to build a loopback-only lab, scope one path, capture one harmless preference request, replay the baseline, change one value, and write a 2-sentence, finding with evidence and remediation. This is original CipherVibe educational content for defensive, authorized use only.